This is Never Close the Inquiry with Nick Hagan. Welcome to Never Close the Inquiry, where I aim to demystify the right for the left and the left for the right, where if you come as a conservative, I want you to leave knowing a little bit more about liberals. If you come as a liberal, I want you to leave knowing a little bit more about conservatives, with the whole idea that over time we'll create better conversations, better relationships, better arguments, and maybe 80 or 90 more steps down the road, a better country. Welcome to the podcast, Jesse Rich.
Thank you, Nick.
So this is kind of a break from what typically do with the podcast, but the normal focus is politics. This is not going to be about politics, unless we get on that accidentally somehow. So first off, what do you do?
I run too much,
Okay.
and I coach, and I'm a nutritionist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say run too much, what do you mean by that?
It's just all consuming,
Okay.
It just takes a lot of my time, but it's worth it. It's fun.
So I'll tell you, you run ultramarathons, and you run them pretty well.
Decently well.
Okay, I mean, You're saying decently well to relative to to me, I would say a little better than decently well. Maybe as a professional, you can say decently well, but you've run some pretty serious long races. How many races have you won? 100 miles?
I've won 5. 2 have been hundreds. It's
gosh.
probably the thing that I'm best at is the 100-mile range. But
holy cow! Okay,
yeah, it's dumb.
It's awesome, and we're gonna get into all of that. But first off, so we know each other because we've known each other 30-something years. I think so. We were surprised. Not to dox you, if anyone would care to look this up, but is your birthday the 16th or the 18th?
18th.
18th, okay. Yeah, so basically 1989, December, I'm born, few days past, Taylor Swift is born, few days past, you're born. And you weren't born in Salt Lake, right?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, you were? Okay, all right. Yeah, I said that right. Okay. So, and did you guys live in the neighborhood? How old were you when you moved into the neighborhood?
Yeah, I was born in this neighborhood.
Okay. All right. So you beat me here. So we moved here. So we grew up in the same neighborhood. But we moved here in 91. When we were 1. And so we grew up in the same neighborhood, same schools, all that. And this is the thing you would have no reason to know. So I have been working out pretty consistently since we were 10. And the reason I started is because we're in Cub Scouts together. We have some sort of personal fitness day, and we went to the track at East, I think, and ran a mile, and we did some push-ups, and then after for some reason we were trying to do pull-ups or something like that, and we're 10 years old, and I couldn't do a pull-up, and I remember we went to your house, and you could do pull-ups. And I the only way I could do a pull-up at that point was the one. I don't know why I could do these because they're more difficult usually, but I could do the one hand on and then the other hand on the wrist, and I could do one that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, that made me kind of mad that you and a few of the other guys were stronger than me, and I literally haven't missed a week since working out in 26 years. And I think I got my parents, we bought a pull-up bar not long after that, and
Nice.
So you are completely unwittingly foundational to my own fitness journey. And
glad I could inspire you with my 2 pull-ups probably then.
Yeah. And then you end up going and doing this sort of thing professionally. And been aware of that for a long time, have watched your career with interest. And then recently, what I'd been meaning to reach out for a while to have you on, talk to you, but what sparked this just right now is that the London Marathon a couple weeks ago, 3 men broke the all-time world record, and then I believe a woman set the all-time women's record too. So it got very close to it at least.
Yeah,
it's pretty remarkable for 3 people to do that in one race. 2 men broke the 2-hour mark officially for the first time, in an official race conditions environment. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to got to talk to Jesse about this because I saw some mention specifically of how in-race nutrition has advanced, and I thought you would probably be a good person to talk to about that. So first off, though, before we get to that, how did you, like, so you've run and won a number of ultras. How do you get into running ultras?
Funny enough, it was my older brother, Eric.
Okay.
Yeah. He somehow got into it with some other friends and then just encouraged me to get out. And even the first run, he's like, dude, you're doing okay for your first time doing this. We kind of grew up hiking and stuff like that. Like I didn't do cross country or track. I always despised running. I never liked running.
Did you? Yeah, in high school, like
I just jumped around. I was like mediocre. I did like 6 different sports in high school, just kind of testing them out. Got okay at some, but I never took any of them seriously. And then, went on my mission, came home. Yeah, and my brother introduced me to it when I was like 21, and I just like really started to enjoy it. And running on asphalt never worked for me, but being out on the trails did, and just kind of clicked.
It's just like hiking a lot faster.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the misconception. I'm not hitting 5-minute miles on trails, and some would say like the shorter the distance, the more natural ability is required, and the longer you can kind of like adapt and train hard enough to do the longer. But that's a interesting kind of debate on where that line is drawn. And I actually have never done a road marathon. I've never done a road race at all. I've only done trails. Yeah.
Okay, so that.
But I definitely am like, I'm very into road running and what's going on. And
right. Yeah. Well, so that's actually a really interesting part of it. So, okay, so you grew up, very active, like athletic guy, doing all sorts of different stuff. But you didn't run high school cross country, didn't run high school track. Okay. And then you're in your 20s, and your brother also very active, doing a lot of things like, let's go out and let's run some trails. And when you first started getting into, because it's not like you go from not running to running 100 miles.
Right.
How do you build up to that?
Yeah, it's a lot of time. And that's what I'm saying. Like, running is such a time intensive sport. Like I do it too much because it's just, endurance athletics is very time based.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's
fundamentally, that's
the biggest metric is how much time are you putting in?
Yeah.
I just started putting in time and did like a trail marathon first, and then got into the ultra, which is anything above a marathon distance.
Okay. And
just kind of started moving up distance, and then just like a lot of people, you just get hooked and you want to keep doing, bigger and bigger distances. And there was a pretty big race it's been going on for 6 years now, Cocodona 250 miler. So we're now seeing competition move even into these 200 plus races.
Oh my gosh.
And what is really cool about that event that just happened, it was a woman that won outright. She won outright.
No kidding.
So we're saying like the longer the distance, the more even the playing field is.
Yeah. So
it's really cool. That's the second time that's happened in 200 milers that a woman wins outright. So
that's amazing. Cool. Where is the Cocodona one?
That one's in Arizona. Okay. But there's also one in Moab that's 240 miles. So at first those were kind of like a joke. Like,
how long does that take?
She ran the 250 in 56 hours.
Okay.
She slept, I think it was a total of 17 minutes for that. So that's what I mean. Like the first year people are sleeping hours. It's like pretty casual. It's like a long hike. Yeah. And now people are optimizing more and more to where like even these 250s are races. Like they're not just hikes anymore. They're runs. So the sport is evolving, and companies like Nike and Adidas and Puma are all getting involved in trail right now. So it's kind of blowing up.
So, gosh, it's really interesting. So it seems, okay, so we grew up here together out west in Salt Lake and Utah in the mountains. People do tend on average to be pretty active, especially where we grew up, like East Bench. everyone's in the mountains a lot. Like even if you're not really a mountain person, I would have said I was not a mountain person, but you still end up skiing and doing all those things because you have so many opportunities to do it. Mm-hmm. And then I went to law school back east and lived back east. And my friends who were from back there, many of them active, many of them good athletes, not in the same way. Mm-hmm. So like out here, you are, of my friends, the most successful ultramarathoner, but you are not the only ultramarathoner, which is kind of an incredible thing to say. But like I know a number of people whom I've known for 25, 30 years who have run ultramarathons or are really very serious and sometimes successful endurance, like road bikers. A number of people have done Ironmans and all these things, whereas back east, a lot of people played sports and all that, but virtually no one did that kind of serious endurance stuff. And so I don't know if I have a comment about that. Is that something you see like in the sport? Like, is there more of it happening out west than there is back east? Is it regional?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, we're seeing a pretty big increase in pros coming here. So
Okay.
like literally moving here for the accessibility. I really do think, and because of what's happening, I do think this is one of the best places for it. I mean, as you know, like we were just talking about the shoreline, like it's the accessibility
It's right
you
there.
can't beat.
Yeah.
And then if you want to get up high altitude training, we've got the canyons. Mm-hmm. Even our baseline at around like 4,500 feet is like kind of a sweet spot for elevation for adaptations. So, you go too high and your blood can kind of get too thick. You go too low and you can't breathe as well when you go up to altitude. So 4,500 is kind of like a golden zone for that, where you can still get some altitude benefit, but you're not like people in the Himalayas like literally have too thick of blood. So like they have too much hemoglobin. So it's like a problem. They can have health issues. But here it's like a perfect happy medium. And Kenya too, I believe, is like 5,000 feet.
Okay.
So there's like all these zones where we see a lot of success, and Salt Lake's kind of right at that altitude as well. So.
That's really interesting. So I, as someone coming from the outside and only having a rudimentary understanding of this stuff, like I know that when you spend time at altitude, your body produces, I would have said your body produces more red blood cells. Mm-hmm. And it takes a little bit to do that, but it does eventually do that. So more hemoglobin, it's thickening the blood.
You basically have so many red blood cells that it's kind of like clogging things up a little bit.
No kidding.
Like it's not circulating as effectively.
Yeah.
And then when you're too low, you don't produce enough red blood cells, so you don't carry oxygen as effectively. So both have a negative if you're too far on either spectrum.
Yeah.
So finding that kind of in between, which Salt Lake has a pretty good in between. Park City, like there's a lot of elite marathoners that
Park
are in Park
City's
City
like
too,
65.
like 65-ish. So yeah, I think a lot of people go there too. So it's, again, where is that line? But yeah, it's a pretty sweet spot, and I think it's being more and more recognized. I mean, it's ridiculous how many pros are here now. It's just absurd.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's really, so it's also interesting because, so here you are, you've won these races, you've gotten to a very high level in this sport. For a lot of other sports, at baseball, basketball, golf, whatever, to be great, you need to have started pretty intensely at a fairly young age. Like there's no one who's like in college and their older brother's like, let's go throw the ball around, and then they're in the majors like 6 years later. Like that doesn't happen. So why is that different for running? And so you've talked about, I think you said something about not feeling like an especially talented natural runner. Like what is it that has separated you from other distance runners?
So interestingly enough, my boss, Scott Johnston, he's kind of the head coach of where I work as a coach. Mm-hmm. He's worked with junior Olympians in cross country, and he's worked with a lot of elite high level runners. And something he's observed is really, as long as you're getting some endurance stimulus as a kid, mm-hmm. that's the most critical window to progress as an adult. So even like in one of our intake questions is like, were you active as a kid? Like, what did you do? You don't necessarily need to be a cross country athlete or a track athlete, but did you play soccer? Did you play baseball? How active are you to trigger those genes for endurance? And so I will say though, because the sport is still kind of young, I can get away with not having a competitive background and getting into the sport. But in 10 years, that's not going to be the story, you know?
Okay, yeah,
I got into the sport at the right time. And even 10 years ago, you could be a super casual athlete and still win. But it's getting to the point where unless you have a pretty competitive running background, it's no longer going to be the case. It just hasn't been professionalized like baseball, like basketball. But it is going to get to the point where unless you started running at a super young age, it's going to be tough. So that's the thing is as I'm phasing out, which I almost am happy that I am at this stage, because there's more and more money being poured into the sport. Instead of people just saying, hey, I'm going to do marathons and do road, there's now interest to come to trails. So before there wasn't that interest. It's like you still have to work full time to be able to run as a pro trail runner. And now people can run full time. So it's like a very changing culture in trail running. And I was lucky enough to get in when I did, because if I were just starting right now, it would be tough. So
when is a normal career peak?
That's a really good question. So I'm 36, and some would say like mid 30s, early to mid 30s is kind of your peak. So I'm probably right on that cusp.
Okay. All right.
Which is scary, right? I probably had my best year that I've had last year at age 35. And so it's one of those things like, do I just go out while I'm kind of maybe at this peak, or do I experiment until you start to see some sort of decline? And of course my ego is like, dude, just get out now. Like, get out now. You had a big win that was the most significant in my running career last year. Just get out. But you know, the way I see it is like, man, we're 36. Why not just try a year or two more and then have 50 years to chill, you know? That's what's almost kind of sad about human physiology is like, your peak is like 35, maybe 40 if you're lucky. And then it's over. And then you just maintain. And I don't want to be like pessimistic about the reality of the situation, but that's kind of how it is. You're not going to see an Olympian winning even at 40 years old, you know? And so it's this tricky balance. Sure, in ultra running, you can extend it a little farther. There are some people still winning really competitively at 40, 41, but it's kind of an anomaly. It's kind of tough to do that.
I mean, that makes sense. It's kind of funny because as a lay person who isn't, you know, a professional athlete or a very serious fitness person, you can actually like, you know, you can have your own personal peak a little later. Like if your habits change and you like you can get in better shape at 50 than you were at 40 if your habits at 50 are significantly better than they were at 40 or something like that. However, if you are at the peak of your like possible human condition at 35, you know, you're not going to beat that at 45 or 50.
Right. There's just there's no way around it. Right. You know, that's just the way it is. And so it's like, do you keep going until you start seeing that decline, or do you just kind of go until you start feeling that your body's starting to not handle it as well, not recover as well? You can kind of get signs in training. So far, I think that I'm okay for another year. Fitness feels good. I think I'm not in that decline yet, but it's different for everybody, you know? There's people that have, like, in their late 20s have had this condition called overtraining syndrome where they just ran too hard.
For ultramarathons.
Exactly. It's an extreme. It's an extreme sport, like on the endocrine system mostly. The hormonal system. It's just you just tax your system so much. If you overtrain for too many years in a row, it's just some people just have to stop early. So there's been some legends in the sport that late 20s they just vanish. You never hear about them again. So you got to be really careful to get the most out of yourself, but not get into that zone of just like beating yourself to the ground.
So two questions come out of that. First off, you mentioned your biggest win last year. And I think seeing something on Instagram, but I couldn't tell you what the win was. Tell me about the race that you won.
It's called Run Rabbit Run, and so it's not the most competitive 100. It's probably third most competitive in the U.S., but it has the highest prize purse. So I was excited to do it. I'm like, okay,
yeah, I remember.
And it's like not that crazy, 20,000. It's like kind of nice. And in trail running, there's pretty much no money. To be won. And so I was like, okay, this is the one. And everything went way smoother than expected. And part of me looking at this, like now that I'm processing it more and more, I'm like, man, it's kind of a good and bad thing. I kind of would have been okay getting fifth and just kind of like going about my life. You still get a paycheck at fifth.
Yeah.
But first kind of was like, dang, I guess I have this potential I need to tap into and work harder the next year. And I've raised the bar a little bit for myself. And so having 2 kids, running my jobs and trying to train harder than the year before, I think I'm kind of on the cusp of burnout. So I need to be very careful, like where that line is, because I think I'm kind of going up to it. But that's what's so tricky is I remember before that race too, my body was like near burnout too. You kind of have to get up to that line, like I was saying, to perform well, but you cross that line and it can be a disastrous season. It's a very unpredictable sport. Like there's very few people in the sport where you're like, oh yeah, they're in the race, they're going to win. There's very few people that can do that because there's so many variables. How does your nutrition go? How did you sleep the night before? What did you have for breakfast? How does your stomach feel the day of the race? What is the temperature like? Are you good in heat? Are you okay in rain?
Yeah.
There's so many variables that it's almost like a miracle to win twice at the same race.
Yeah. That makes sense because, 100 miles is a really long way to run.
A lot can go wrong.
Yeah. So tell me, oh gosh, I got so many questions that come out of that. So first off, tell me about your training schedule.
Yeah, and the funny thing is this isn't even as crazy as full-time pros, not even close, but like this time of year, I'm not usually hitting 80, 85 miles, but that's roughly what I'm doing a week right now. Okay. And usually I wait till kind of later in the summer, so I'm kind of testing out what happens earlier in the season to do this kind of volume, but for me, that's kind of the sweet spot.
And how do you split that up?
Sometimes it's 2 times a day. Sometimes it has to be doubles. Usually once or twice a week I do doubles. And then Saturday is like a 4 to 5 hour run. Always take a day off.
So the 4 to 5 hour run, like, are you going 30 miles?
Yeah. It'll be anywhere from like 25 to 30 on those big days with a lot of vert in there too. So 85 translated into trail miles is like 13 hours total of running per week, which again, in the grand scheme of things is not a lot. It sounds like a lot, but like it's still a lot of these guys now are just 100-mile weeks every week. Oh, and I do 100 miles maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah.
My wife is a teacher, so summers I can kind of take advantage of that opportunity. And I definitely prioritize family. So my situation is my wife works, both my kids are in preschool, but when they're not in school, I'm with them. Okay. And then I just work remotely and find the time during their naps, during nighttime, during morning to fit in my work. It's a little chaotic, but I make it work. So that way, like I'm seeing my family, could probably see my wife more. That's the one part where it's like, probably could spend more time with her. Yeah. We definitely hang out every night, but it's one of those things where it is a sacrifice. Something has to be sacrificed to be able to do it. But like that conversation we just had and I have with my wife is like, there's really not much time left. Let's just embrace it as you are. And she's been super supportive of it. We still have our weekly date night, still trying to prioritize our relationship too, but it's a lot. It's a lot to juggle.
Well, that's really cool to hear that you're doing that. What time of day do you run?
It's not that crazy. So I'll get up 6 o'clock. Luckily, I live pretty close to kind of a parkway I can run on. So when I do have to do morning, it's right out the door, saves a lot of time. And then afternoons, pretty much just like twice a week, I'll sneak out and get a run in the afternoons too.
And how long does it take you to get into the mountains?
12 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, which was so funny because when I moved to Murray, like that felt far, but like again, just the privilege we have is incredible. Yeah. Before we moved to Murray, we were at the mouth of Mill Creek, so I had 6 trailheads out my front door, so it was an adjustment. But like it's just like wow, it's only 12 minutes. So, but yeah, like it's insane. I'll drop my kids off at preschool, take calls, park at a trailhead, hurry and get in and run, pick them up. You know, it's just like every minute is utilized, and but it's a lot, but it's really fulfilling at the same time. Yeah, because really again, cool. Like it's gone soon, so like I'm just enjoying it while I can, and then sailing off to the sunset for 50 years.
It's kind of funny because there's a part of me that hears you say like, you know, it's gone soon, and I exercise, I run, I'm certainly for a lawyer an active guy, but for me, like I'm exercising, you're training. And it's different. Like, and you know, and I have semi-specific goals, but they're more like normal person stuff, like just, you know, like I want to drop a couple of pounds or you know, or whatever it is, or get to the point where I could comfortably run a half, right? I'd never run a full marathon. I'd like to do that, so I should just sign up and do it. Nice. But briefly to your point about how lucky we are living here. Yeah, I had no idea growing up here what it was like, but now you know, then living away for a while and then coming back, it's like, yeah, like I'll be, you know, and I again don't run obviously nearly as seriously, but I'll like run from where we're at. I'll run up to the zoo. It's like half a mile, and then depending on how I'm feeling, if I want to stick on roads, then I'll go up above the zoo and go down like Wasatch and just run there for a while. It's nice. It's nice. Or I turn left and run up into the hills, and you can go as far up into the hills as you want, and it's awesome. And you can basically come down wherever. You have all this optionality. It's not like you're going in and you're committing to a 12-mile run. It's like you have any distance, and you can just be, you know, up there where. And I'll say the fun thing for me about trail running, and maybe you can speak to this, but road running to a great degree, you can kind of zone out a little bit. You don't have to like really. The irony of this is I actually did a trip a couple of weeks ago and break my phone because I just on a curb. I just for whatever reason I just misgauged apparently how tall the curb was, and so I tripped and totally ate it and broke my phone. But normally you don't really have to be like actively looking where your feet are landing. Right. Whereas you're on a trail and there are rocks, like you got little mini ankle rolls like all the time, like or at least I do. And you know, you really have to be like it's an active engagement with the trail. Yeah. Because if you are not active, like you're going to fall, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's an athletic sport. I mean, it takes skill to learn how to run downhill on technical terrain fast. And trust me, I've had countless ankle sprains learning. Yeah. And that's what's so fun about it. There's so many pieces to trying to get better at it, because you still need to be good at running economy, you still need to be good at running fast, but you also have to develop uphill ability, downhill ability. Depending on the course, you have to start using poles. And then the nutrition is a huge component. I mean, I've made a job out of that, just helping people not get sick for 100 miles, which is a very complicated equation, and it's different for everybody. But that's like most of what I do is I work with ultra runners or ultra endurance athletes to fuel and not feel sick. And yeah, going back to your comment, like, and by the way, it's crazy to think that the guy that got second in the London Marathon, first marathon, that was his marathon debut.
That's so nuts.
And apparently he missed 2 of his nutrition bottles. So like he wasn't even fully fueled and performed that well. So I think he's someone to watch.
I think he's got something more in him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And so seeing the marathon continuing to get better and seeing this high carb movement is kind of what it's called. And basically just what we thought was good and enough, we're now seeing that we should try to double that. You know, it used to be one little gel every hour, and now it's like 2 to 3. And that's what's really interesting to see from when I started. Sports nutrition was just kind of like, there wasn't any information. That's when I went to school. I'm like, there's so much missing here. My first ultra was a complete disaster. I got so sick, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Sick and is it, unless, I mean, you don't have to provide graphic details, but what kind of sick are we talking?
out the back end.
Oh, bro, gosh.
Luckily, I've barely thrown up in ultras, but I was really into healthy eating. I'm like, oh, let's have a big salad before a race.
Delicious.
Delicious, perfect. Tons of nutrients in here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, obviously, I did something wrong before I even started the race. I'm like, this is not good. My gut's
like
messed
Michael
up.
Scott eating chicken Alfredo before.
Yes. Perfect reference. Exactly how I looked, man. And so I just suffered through the race, and I finished, but it was so bad. And after that race, I'm like, okay, I want to figure out how to do this. And then turns out I did the exact opposite of what you should do. You should have like low fiber, processed carbs, basically pasta, things like that. Not too much fat like a chicken Alfredo. Keeping it mainly just simple carbs.
Yeah.
And then, so I honestly can say a lot of my improvement has come from understanding nutrition and upping my carb intake, upping my water intake. Turns out I'm a pretty heavy sweater. Okay. Making sure your hydration is dialed, getting the sodium, the electrolytes. Luckily, we're in a day and age where you can do a lot of tests to understand your personal needs. And so I think we're going to just see times continuing to get better because of the nutrition, because of the shoe technology as well. That's an interesting one also. It just keeps getting better. Trail shoes are interestingly pretty far back from road still because there's just so many more elements that have to be dialed in a trail shoe than a road shoe.
Yeah.
But yeah, both sports I think are just going to get more and more exciting, and they're going to be pulling people more professionally, and there's more money coming in. So it's an exciting time.
That's really cool. So I want to ask you like fully, I want to walk through a race with you and get the idea of like what that nutrition entails exactly. But before that, how fast are you running for 100 miles?
Yeah, let me try to think what my average was.
And this is on trails, so you're going up and down.
Up and down. Yeah, so again, this is where it varies a lot. I want to say it was like a 10-minute mile average with 21,000 feet of vert, so it's like a lot of up and down.
Yeah.
But there's races that are like, I'm trying to remember. The world record for like 100 miles flat is under 12 hours. So that gives you context that, yes, you can go really fast for 100 miles. I think it's like a 6:40 mile for 100 miles. But once you throw in, that's the thing is like we are just still so inefficient at, I mean, relatively speaking, when you throw any incline at the human body, it slows us down quite a bit. Yeah. You're not going to be hitting 5-minute miles or 6-minute miles. So you can make up that time on the downhill. I mean, my 100 record, like PR right now is like 1741 or something.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know what a completely flat 100 would look like, and I don't really care to know. That sounds boring. There's actually 100 mile at the Salt Flats here.
Oh, that sounds horrendous. And that was another question I had. So that's a really long time to be by yourself, 17 hours.
It is.
And are you are you listening to anything? Are you listening to music? You listen to music?
I choose not to. No. Okay. People do. And then there's this most races will allow you to have what's called a pacer.
Okay.
So
or like 8 different pacers or something.
You can have like 2 or 3 depending on the race. Usually the earliest you can pick up a pacer usually is like mile 50 in a 100-mile race.
All right. Because I was thinking, if you got a pacer the whole time, why doesn't the pacer just enter the race and do it themselves if they're running 100 miles? But no, that makes sense. You're picking up a pacer at 50. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So it's a little bit different, too, than like a marathon. They're not really, in a way, it's similar. They're making sure you're staying on your target pace.
Yeah.
But in hundreds, it's like more than anything, having someone to talk to, make sure that you eat enough. But I'll tell you, man, some of my worst moments as a human is when I'm being paced by somebody and like, you're just in such a grumpy mood that like, sometimes I'll just be like, oh man, I just don't feel like talking for a while. But the thing is you got to choose someone who gets it. Yeah, so you always choose someone who's already been through 100, who understands that he's too tired to talk, and that's fine. Yeah. I'm not offended. Yeah. This is how it goes. We roll with the punches.
You're too tired to talk, but you got to keep running.
Yeah. You have to put everything into the running. So yeah, it's isolating the run, rabbit, run, no pacers allowed. So there are some where no pacers allowed.
Okay.
You do see some people, a lot of races will have like 2 different starts, it's 2 different waves. So you do cross some people. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of times it's totally through the night. You know, Run Rabbit Run started at 1 p.m. So you start at 1 p.m. and finish at sunrise, and it's a wild sport. Yeah, it's crazy.
And so during the 17 plus hours of running by yourself and running without music or anything, like you don't have headphones in, like. You must really run the game. Like, do you have moments where it's like, I hate myself?
Yes, every time.
Okay,
every time. Yeah, but every time you think how stupid this is, and why did I pay money to do this? 100% every time.
How far into the race are you thinking that?
Oh, sometimes it can happen at 15 when you're already feeling terrible. Sometimes it's 80.
Yeah.
It just depends, but you have these low points. But that's the beauty of it. Like, I think that ultra running can make you a better person. Like, yeah, there's this guy, Dean Karnassus. He was an ultra runner.
I actually have heard that name. I don't know fully know why, but yeah, okay.
He was one of the OGs. He was a really good ultra runner back in the day. And he just said that like we just don't have a lot of opportunities in our comfortable modern life to get that uncomfortable. Yeah. Kind of a David Goggins mindset of like, let's take an opportunity to get uncomfortable, see what it's like to face that much boredom, to be alone for that long, to be with yourself for that long, to struggle for that long, and see if you come out a better person, and every time, life just kind of feels easier when you go through 100 miles. It's just, you go through so much in that time that you're like, okay, like, yeah, there's struggles in life, there's difficulties, but nothing beats that.
Okay, so you know what? That's how this gets into something that is like not conventional, but is within the normal range of the podcast, because that's really relevant for modern, especially Americans, right? Modern Americans, where I've got my phone here on the table, and because of my job, I say because of my job, and partially that's true, but I'm available by email all day, and because I'm available by email all day, I have my phone with me all day to do not email. And you get those dopamine surges all the time, and you really don't have big breaks from that. For a lot of people, certainly, your phone is the first thing you look at in the morning. Your phone is the last thing you look at night.
Yep.
And you're checking it. I think they have a stat thing that you never want to look at if you want to feel good about yourself. Yeah. But it tells you not just how much time you spend on your phone, which is depressing enough, but how many times you pick it up. Mm. And those numbers tend to be, I think, way higher than people would probably guess, because you do it reflexively and, it just as a matter of habit. You're not, and so like what you're doing out there on the trails is something like AI is never going to do that. Like it is humanity at its barest and most right.
Beautifully said. Yeah, exactly. I mean, most people don't have their phones out there. I don't even have my phone.
Yeah.
When I'm out there, some races will require it, but it's the only time where I'm like, phone's gone.
Totally
like
gone.
My job is fully on my phone too, and computer. Yeah. So it's like, in a way, it's kind of a break from that too, and break from everything that's going on, and it's just a moment to process.
Do you feel like it has made you a better person?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it really gives you everything in one: patience, perseverance, being able to delayed gratification. You're training.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an everyday thing to just do one day's worth of effort. And so it's like this delayed gratification of putting in all this work for an outcome you don't know. Again, going back to the beginning of the conversation, like it could be anything. Like you just because you had a one good race or one good year, to try to replicate that and repeat that is all up in the air. So it's also like an ego thing, because you may not have the same result, and that's okay. So when you do have a bad race, you also kind of address your ego and have to, battle that. I've had what we call DNFs, do not finish. And those are like, oh man, what's my problem? Why did I fail? And you learn from the failure and you pick yourself up and you go. In fact, Run Rabbit Run the year before, I dropped at mile 50, and then I go back and I was able to have a great day out there, and then I win it. And so it's one of those things of like, you just got to pick yourself up and keep trying. So it just kind of like wraps all the things that we work on as humans into one experience. And it's so wild, because like, I feel like it's going to take years to fully process even just one of those events.
Yeah.
It's like years of life in a day that you're just like grappling with. Cause you go to, I don't like the word dark places. But you go to negative places for sure. And you have to pull yourself back out and be positive. So yeah, I for sure think it does make you a better person. And I heard this random thing. It's probably not a fact. It's probably just a, rumor, but apparently like jobs like that people do marathons. Jobs like applicants that show, hey, I am persistent. I'm dedicated to a craft. I'm working hard towards a goal. Yeah. And it's just part of my routine. Like I'm dedicated towards something bigger than myself. That
wouldn't surprise me at all if people like that. I mean, I could tell you about my job, as a lawyer. Every lawyer who just starts out, they're all terrible. Like, because coming out of law school, there are some practices where what you've learned in law school is relevant, but there are a lot, especially if you go into corporate law, which is, for students coming out of the kind of top schools, it does tend to be where they go. A lot of people go to New York or DC or whatever, and they're going to these big firms that pay very nice salaries and give you these great jobs, and you're going in and they cannot teach you in law school, or they wouldn't teach you, or if they could or would, don't know. They don't teach you what you're going to be doing, and so everyone is bad, and so the ones who, you're not always going to be bad, but you start out bad, and that can be. It's really disconcerting for a lot of people, especially for people who have never failed, which is a lot of them, because generally to get to those places, I had a different path. I had a very rough undergrad academically that kind of I got very lucky and ended up getting to the same spot as a lot of people who had just been nails all the way through, just smoked high school, smoked college, doing well on all their tests, and now they're at these great schools. Smoke that, and then now they're in a position where it's totally different, because you're in school, and like at the start of the semester, no one expects you to know anything, and then you get little bite-sized chunks. And then if you work hard at the end of the semester, you do the test, you're great, you get a good grade, and you're a great student, and then someone will hire you, and then you go into a job, and it's like day one, like technically no one expects you to be good at it, but you ultimately need to produce work product that's going to clients or being filed or whatever, and it has to be good. So either you're going to do it well, or someone is going to have to basically do your work for you. And so there's this period where everyone kind of sucks. And it's a long way of saying the ones who get good, it's literally two things in junior associates, because you figure like as long as someone is smart enough, and there are a lot of people who are smart enough, it's are you responsive, and are you willing to work hard, and like, can you do that for a long time? Yeah. And if you can do those two things, you're going to eventually be good at it. Yeah. And there's very high attrition rate, but it's because it's like those two things are hard. Yeah. It's like it's hard to always be on and be ready and available to work, and then it's hard it's funny you say that 'cause, doing ultras, like kind of can't, the furthest I've ever run is 15 miles. And like 15 miles is
that's sweet.
Yeah, it's good. Good length. It felt
run.
Really good. And this is in New York, so not breathing hard. This is just New York City. Manhattan has some great places to run. Because they have like a nice basically running, cycling walkway that goes basically all the way around the island. There are a couple of breaks where you have to go a little bit in, but for the most part, around the whole of Manhattan Island, you have like pretty sweet running trails. And that run, so we lived on the west side, and I would go down to the river where that is, and I would usually run south. And if I went all the way down south to the super fancy mall and like yacht boatyard and ran back, that'd be 12 miles. And if I went up north, I only did this all the way once, but I go up to the George Washington Bridge, and it's basically flat the whole way. You have some small slopes, but nothing like you get here, just basically on every street.
Right. And
that was the 15. That's a long run. It certainly was for me. It feels good, but your nutrition is like, if you're trying to go fast, it's relevant at that distance, but you can run, having done this, you can run 12 miles fasted and feel pretty good doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How, and now we're getting back to this more to the technical running questions, because I want to hear how nutrition works for a 100-mile race. How, at what point is that not the case? Like, at what point does nutrition get really important?
Yeah. First off, I've heard being a lawyer can be brutal. I mean, like, on that work ethic front, like, so I coach some people that are lawyers, and there will be weeks where they're just like, dude, I've just been in it. I'm sorry. Like, I can't get out on the runs. I've got this case. I mean, ultras is the hardest thing I've done, but that definitely doesn't mean it's the hardest thing you can do. Like, law school, medical school, PhDs, like, yeah, I've got my master's, but when you get out of academia, even after academia, and then there's tons of people wanting your same position, and it's all about who can push it out the hardest, who can have the hardest work ethic. It's just a matter of, I'm talking about how this isn't time intensive, but so is that. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, like, what's the max you were working in a week? I feel like most lawyers, it's like insane at first.
It's a lot. And it's funny because when at first, when you're not that useful, it can vary a lot because you just don't know how to do that much. So there might be stretches where you're working very little, actually. And this is more speaking from New York, because now practicing here in Salt Lake, been working a good amount, but it's really steady. And so like, I've had a few, very late nights and early mornings, but for the most part, it's like my day, I'm mostly billing most of the time between like 8 and 5:30, and then might do a little more at night, which is still a lot of work, and I'll do some on weekends. But no, the craziest times I had in New York, and keep in mind that billable hours are not like waking hours. So, because billable, like, you're actually working for the most part. So there were a number of stretches like this where for, a week, maybe 2 weeks, you'd basically be going, like every day from around 9 a.m., which doesn't sound bad, but the reason you're starting at 9 a.m. is because you go till 4:30, and then you go to bed, and then you're up at 8:30 and you shower, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it like every day for a while. And the funny thing you realize after you've done this enough is that, and I think this is a fairly common experience. So some people like this. Actually, I kind of liked it because you do get a lot of adrenaline, and it can be exciting, especially when you're dealing with like big dollar amounts or something. Like, it can be, and you're often, it's sometimes it is a solitary thing, but it often isn't. So like, I've been on calls at 4 a.m. with people, like a team where you're working on something. That is kind of exciting because you're all in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. It can be this kind of like team building exercise almost, because you're going through, it's like it's crappy. Like objectively, you do not want to be awake at 4, like working. But you have it's like the first day after you've slept 4 hours and you have to work again, you're not fresh. You're not doing well. Second day is also pretty bad, but then by the third day, it's like your body's like, okay, I guess that's what we do now. And it's killing you technically. Like, you know, the cortisol levels are extremely high. You do see a fair number of people like around. So I do bankruptcy, and in New York, it was a debtor side practice. So you're preparing large companies to file for bankruptcy. And it's a very complicated, comprehensive thing that generally for large companies requires very large teams. And so like it wouldn't just be bankruptcy lawyers, but like the month that a company filed, you might have like 80 to 100 lawyers bill to this one client. And that's just their counsel. There, you know, all these other parties who are involved. So it's a massively expensive endeavor, ironically, being bankruptcy.
Right.
But yeah, is what it is. But by day 3 or 4, yeah, you start to feel like I was feeling good. Literally physically feeling good. Like I'd get workouts in.
That's so wild. That's so wild.
Yeah.
That's an ultra right there. Like that is an ultra in and of itself.
Making me
That's
feel kind of good about myself.
No, that's insane. That's insanely impressive. I don't know if I could last. I mean, that's the thing. Like some like, yeah, there's different types of hard, and you know, and that's amazing. You're able to go through that, and like you were saying, you still kept up fitness. It's something you've been dedicated to. I don't know how you fit in meals. I don't know how you, sleep deprivation. I mean, now that you have a kid, you probably are like, this is nothing. I've been here. Like, you know, 4 hours is nothing for me now. Like, I get this.
I mean, the funny thing is, we left New York because of having a kid, and it wasn't because. So there are two parts of it, and this wasn't supposed to be about me. Dang it! But anyway, I'll tell you anyway. It was so part of it was not being near family. So once you have a kid, it's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, actually we do really want to be by family. That makes things better for a number of reasons. But then when he was 7 months old, I had a month that was reasonably busy, but like was way below my peak busy. Like under 2/3 of my peak busy month. I just had this moment looking at him one night after I'd come home from work. And it clicked like, I'm not going to be able to coach Little League. And for whatever reason, for me, that was it. I was like, I don't care about this. And so that, like, literally that was what informed it, and ended up, you know, we ended up coming back here where lawyers still do work a lot at times, but it's categorically different. And the people who are kind of working peak hours here, one, they're choosing to do it fully. They just want to do it. You don't have to, at least at the firm I'm at. And then also the peak here is way below the peak that, not that I worked personally, but the peak of the people I knew. So that was the thing. Like I had times where I was working a ton, but I could tell you stories about people who worked like my peak month ever, where you know, you have that like 2-week stretch where it's 9 to 4 every day. I knew people who did that for like 5-6 months.
That's so insane.
With
like,
kids.
How do you not turn into a zombie, man? I don't know how you stay healthy like that.
I think, you know, I don't know that, you know, everyone lives to 100, but they make a lot of money. You know, they go out with a sick casket.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's what. Yeah. No, that's why I want to come back, because it's like, because I knew if I stayed, you'd just keep doing it, because they do pay you well to do that. And then, you know, some people really don't like the crazy times, and then other people, it is kind of like that competition. It's like game time, and it ends up being weirdly fun.
Yeah.
And you get kind of like, you have letdowns after. Do you have that after races sometimes?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Where you have
huge dopamine increase and then a crash. Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So you'd have this crash, and during the crash, you'd be like, that's stupid. I never want to do that again. And then it's like, all right, this company needs to file. And then honestly pretty fun. And you're having this, the last, okay, I'll tell one last lawyer story. Before we moved out here, so we moved out here in October of 2024. And I worked for my New York firm through the end of the year. But week and a half before we moved, week and a half, 2 weeks, we filed, it was my last like debtor filing. We're preparing, a fairly large company for bankruptcy. And this one was a little smaller, but smaller team. And so funny thing is people live far enough away from the office that post-COVID, oftentimes if people got busy, like wouldn't come in. And so, and this team, we had people from a few different offices working on it. So pretty much everyone did the whole like filing remotely, which is historically not what you would have done. But we're all, people are working from home. And that weekend, we had for years had a weekend where we went up to kind of remote Vermont with a few friends just to do like the classic, like New England, like, go have some syrup sort of thing, people. And for this last trip, I left the Airbnb once. So I worked from about 9 until 4:30 every day, and I left it once, and it was only because the power went out, and so I had to drive about 20 minutes across the border to New Hampshire to get to a Starbucks so I could log back on and keep working. And the sick part about it, the really sick part about it, is that I had fun.
You gotta have a certain personality to do it. You've got to. And like, same with ultra running. Like you've gotta have that kind of crazy. You gotta have a little percentage of like, I'm ready to throw down and just go all in for a little while.
Yeah.
Like,
and you gotta be like, you gotta be 38 miles into a difficult race and have 62 to go and have that not like the thought of that stop you in your tracks.
Yeah. No, you can't think that way. Can't think that way.
What do you think? How do you do that?
I got to make it to the next aid station. I got to make it 8 miles. Like that's one of the biggest things I try to help people with is you got to break it up into portions. Okay. Just like getting through the night shifts for you probably. It's like, 4 a.m. so far away. No, you got to make it to lunch. You got to make it to dinner. Yeah. Got to make it to breakfast.
Just one discrete task or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think we work better that way mentally. It's just like, okay, this is my, once I get here, that's it. That's my goal. And then the next place. And then, if I were to be thinking at mile 1, okay, 99 to go. Like it's too hard to think that way. But, I was just curious, and I'm glad you did fill us in a little bit. But in terms of nutrition, you think you're asking like, at what point do you need to start fueling? At what point does it matter? Yeah. So we've got something called glycogen, which is stored carbohydrates that last about 2 hours, right? And so for most people, you're pretty safe to go up until 2 hours without anything. Here's the tricky part, though, is depending on how much you're training, when you're doing fasted runs, you're basically missing a meal, right? Mm-hmm. You're missing a meal, and then you're falling behind during that run. You're putting yourself in a deficit. So depending on how much you're running, you could really easy fall into this this cycle of reduced caloric intake. Yeah. And so you start to lose weight, start to get stress fractures, injury. So depending on how much you're doing, that's why it's really individualized, and the intensity. So like your heart rate, how hard you're going, the more important it is. Fat is kind of like a slow burning energy source. So if you're doing a workout and trying to go fast, you're probably not going to be as efficient with no carbs on board. So carbs are going to allow you to like have better turnover, work harder, better mindset. So the brain is a huge burner of glucose. So without glucose, you kind of mentally can be a little bit out of it too. So past that 2 hour point, it starts to become important to fuel. And then, just, most people who have done ultras, there's this feeling of just getting sick of eating sugar. Like gels are just sugar. Yeah. And so you just start to get really sick of sweet. And so finding ways out of that. Luckily, there's a lot of different products now, sweet, savory, kind of alternating between those two, can get you through it.
What separates like some fancy super sugar gel from like Starburst?
Honestly, not a lot.
Okay. Okay.
The only real difference is it's just being absorbed more rapidly compared to the Starburst that may not be quite as. Both of them are being consumed and metabolized rapidly, but the gel is just going to hit you a little bit faster.
Okay.
And it tends to just be a little bit easier to digest, which sounds counterintuitive. The gels at first can be a little bit hard on your stomach, but with training, you can get to the point where those are like your preferred fuel source. But like candy is totally acceptable in an ultra. It totally works. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's high fructose corn syrup, which is different than glucose. It's metabolized differently through the liver. So again, it doesn't get to your muscles as quickly as glucose. Glucose basically goes straight to your muscles, where fructose has to go through the liver first and then go through to get to your muscles. So high fructose corn syrup is not necessarily ideal. And then, you can get into the weeds that you want this like 2-to-1 ratio of glucose to fructose. That's the most optimal combination. So that's why these sports nutrition products, like they're pretty dialed in those ratios. But if you're kind of like casual and just doing like a trail marathon or something, you could get away with candy. Yeah.
Okay. Good
Skittles, Starburst.
Might do that. Oh,
You'll get sick of chewing probably, but
yeah.
There
are worse things. I mean, generally, I don't eat a ton of candy. But okay.
Yeah. No, and soda? Soda's great when you're doing an ultra race.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ginger ale, Sprite, some of my favorites.
Wow. Okay. This is really okay. This is good. I mean, part of the reason it's like running's appealing. Running's appealing in and of itself. It's great, but also just the thought of eating whatever I want to. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
What? Let's see. A couple of final questions because I won't take too long. Frankly, I'm going to go to bed. So we're going to jump around just really quick here. Getting back to the London guys.
Yeah.
What is it they're doing different nutrition wise from prior runners, or what have we perfected? What have we advanced on nutrition wise that's letting them shave minutes off?
Yeah, it's just more. It's more of the good stuff.
How often and how many grams of carbs are they getting?
So those guys, I actually haven't seen what they've come out with, but most elite marathoners are doing 90 to 120 grams per hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of that is like liquid. So this is my preferred way of ingesting
if we put
carbs
that, so like a normal can of Coke is so this they're not drinking Coke, but a can of Coke I think is like 38 grams of carbs. Something like that. Ballpark.
Soda's around there. Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine 2 to 3 of those
an hour.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's really That's a lot of sugar.
It's a lot.
Wow.
And so it's cool because the stomach is like any other muscle we're learning, where it can be trained to ingest that much and be okay and tolerate it. So a lot of it is liquid carbs. Marathons in nature, the way they set up is pretty terrible for fueling. You can just get like a little teeny cup of water and like a gel along the way. So elites have the ability to have their own bottles at the aid stations. Most runners don't have that privilege. So elites have their own nutrition, their own bottles ready to go for them that are already set up with the carbs in there and the water needed in there. So it's just more of the good stuff. A lot of African runners, like they're still really good without the nutrition, and then they work with a nutrition company and perfect the nutrition, and then they're just like insanely good. Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't want to get political here on this is
on a political podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily in government politics, but like there has been a lot of doping in running lately. So that's hopefully not the case with these three. Yeah. Apparently, the guy who got first, that his sponsor's been putting a ton of money into consistent testing for him. Okay. But unfortunately, a lot of Kenyans, especially recently, have been caught for doping.
Blood doping.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe it's some of that too.
Well, it worked for Lance Armstrong.
Turns out it works pretty well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, what can we say about doping except it's very, very effective? Yeah, let's see. Oh, gosh. Did I have one other? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. One final question. So this is going to be random. Basically, we'll have to put a button on the conversation that isn't this final question because it would be a stupid way to end the podcast. But just looking at you, you're like 6'1"?
Yeah, I'm 6 feet.
6 feet. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to guess 140-ish?
No.
150? 160?
170.
170?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not
sorry. I shorted you. I shorted you so much. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you... I don't take offense.
Yeah.
I was just guessing. I don't know why I was guessing that. I was guessing that because I was looking at the size of these runners earlier. Yeah. And I think that just got in my mind weird. I know the guy who took second is 6'1", according to Wikipedia. I don't know how recently they I don't know if he sent him his weight, but he was 6'1", 128.
Yeah.
Thin.
No, those guys are insanely thin.
So 6 foot 170, like you're fairly well built. Like at 6 foot 170, you're not.
I don't have a great runner's body, and I've tried to change it. I've gone down to 160, and I mean, I was like 185 in high school, and 170, 165 is like kind of where I like to be. So
no kidding. I think
I'll probably get down to 165 kind of midsummer. But I've learned the hard way. Like my body does not like to go too low. Okay. Like it's just not how my body is. And that's probably why I do have some limitations in being super fast.
When you got down lower, did you get hurt more? Did you not recover as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got injured and I just I did not look healthy. Like there's people where you see them and you're like, they shouldn't be that light. You know what I mean? And that's just where I got. And my wife was just like, you need to eat more. Like, what is going on? And that's another chore. Like I was saying earlier, like it becomes difficult to eat enough, which is kind of one of the fun parts is like you can pretty much get away with whatever because and you kind of have to. Right. You eat healthy. You've got a good base. Like the people I work with, we get a good base. Yeah. But then sometimes you got to add in pizza. Sometimes you got to add in those high calorie foods to hit. Yeah. It's kind of fun to be able to be like, you need to eat something like tortilla chips or pizza or something because you're still
to go
in
slam
like
a whole cheese
1,000.
pizza.
Yeah. I mean, you're burning 4,000 calories, like, especially on a long run. Like that's 4,000 or 5,000 calories. Like you got to work hard to make that up. Yeah. So
I could manage. Man. So let's end with this because it's been really cool. It's fascinating. So end with this because I think if we were to tie it back to like a moral lesson, something out of this, I think it's the value of doing hard things. Like what you're doing, that's hard. That's really hard, and the endurance, like it's not. Because for me, and tell you, when I got sideways academically, I think it was because as a kid, or one of the reasons, I think it was multifaceted, but one of the reasons was that as a kid, I'd never learned how to push through that kind of thing, that kind of discomfort. I could do it in other contexts. I could work hard, baseball, I could work hard physically, but in school, like if I got into something where it was going to take me a while to figure it out. It's like you could figure it out, but it was like I don't know if I had a dopamine need or something where I wouldn't do it. I'd go off and do something else. I'd go watch a show or whatever. Watched like in undergrad, huge amount of parks and recreation and not that much schoolwork, and that kind of that has changed a lot as I've gotten older. But it took a long time, and part of it was kind of funny. I think part of it was having the job that I did. I got lucky in getting the job. Once I had the job, I got kind of forced into better habits to some degree, and I think grew out of that into a place where I have a little more control over it. But you're doing, what you're doing, that's it's remarkable, and the cool thing about it, I think, is that you can feel your ability to do it improve. Mm-hmm. And one thing that constantly amazes me is like we all know conceptually how muscles work. And if you use them and stress them, they will get stronger as long as you provide sufficient fuel and recovery time and all that. But basically, you use them, they'll grow stronger, and if you don't, you'll lose them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the more we know about the body, the more we know that same principle is true of so much other stuff. It's true of your brain in so many different respects. Mm-hmm. And so to the extent there's a lesson from this, because it ended up being, this is a lot about the running, but then a little bit about being a lawyer and saying that I really think there's just incredible value, especially in a time where for certain people with AI and all these other things, as Americans, we are looking, compared to the world at large, unbelievably wealthy, and we have so much at our fingertips. We have so many things that make our lives easier and easier, and there's value to consciously resisting that and choosing to make your life a little harder.
Yeah. Yeah, and to your point, I mean, it's interesting. I think everybody has something that's harder for them than others. Like, for some reason, running just kind of, I enjoyed it, and it just became, not every day is fun, not every day is easy. But I don't like cleaning my house,
Right. Yeah.
But it's one of those things. There's certain things in my life that I have to push my brain more for. Yeah. And luckily running became something pretty natural. But like menial chores and, sometimes focusing on work, those kind of things. Like, I think everybody has things they have to work harder towards. Everybody's got that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think there's anybody who just naturally easy. Work is easy. Athletics is easy. Parenting is easy. Like, I think we all have our own different categories. Some people fit into one where it's easy for them, and others it's not. But I think as adults, we all have to find discomfort and deal with it in something. And it's always going to be kind of different areas in life. And that's the beauty of it, like, life is meant to be hard. What's easy if you don't know hard? Like, you kind of have to go through the hard to know what's easy. You kind of have to go through difficult times to know the good times. And I think we're all just trying to figure it out and learn through the hard times and enjoy the good times. And I don't think any of us really have it perfectly dialed. I don't think any of us are not struggling in some way, in some aspect of life. So we're all kind of just in this together, working towards it.
Well, that's as good a place as any to end what has been a really, really fun conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jesse Rich, for coming on. All right, and that was the interview. Thank you very much for listening. If you wouldn't mind, please do leave a review for the podcast. I believe those are important. And subscribe to the newsletter, which will be linked in the show notes, or can be found at neverclosetheinquiry.substack.com. Thanks.